guys, I have a question for you. When you were growing up and people asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many of you said, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a doctor, I would like to be a firefighter, a teacher, a mailman, a plumber? All of these jobs are mainstream jobs that we encounter in our day-to-day life. So naturally, we're going to pick which one we like the best out of the few selection that we actually know, and we'll stick with that one. And many people stick with that career idea until they go through high school, they go through college and university, and they actually try that job, and then they find out it's not really what they wanted, or maybe they have a friend who has a job that they actually like better. What I would like to do in this course is to change your mindset. I don't want to change your idea of what it is that you want to do at all. That's not why I'm here. But I want to show you the variety of jobs that are available in the job market. There's tons of behind the scenes work. There's tons of jobs that really are very critically important that don't really get a lot of face time with the community, and you wouldn't necessarily think about it unless you have a family member that already works in it, or maybe a friend once you're older. So in order to explore these different options, we're going to be using resources that the Government of Canada provide. We're going to start off looking at the NOC. Now, this website is not exactly user-friendly, especially when it comes to the younger demographic such as you guys. I even had a hard time looking through it when I first was introduced to it, but it is excellent for variety. There is every single job you can possibly ever have listed on there, and it's all put into categories. So if you know that you want to work as in healthcare, or if you know that you want to work in education, then you can go and look at that category, and it will show you at least 50 jobs that are in that category, and there's going to be a whole bunch that you didn't even know existed. And there's probably going to be some that mix other interests that you have that you didn't even think were connected to that profession, but it is. So after we go through the NOC, I'm going to take you to Working in Canada. This is a website provided by the Government of Canada as well, but this one's way more user-friendly, and it also provides a little bit more information when it's talking, when it comes to wages and when it comes to projections. And what I mean by projections is, what is the job demand going to be like by the time you go through university? What is it going to look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? So I'm going to take you through that. Afterwards, we'll revisit the Job Bank website just so that you have a variety of places to look at different jobs and find out what qualifications you need and how much job demand there is. So stick with me. I'm going to create a screenshot video, and we'll continue on through there. Okay? Thanks. Alright, just some quick overviews of the websites that I was mentioning earlier. Let's start off with the NOC. NOC. It should be the first one that pops up, National Occupational Classification System. So it's not very inviting, but it does have a large range of occupations to explore. So if you, in this sidebar here, I clicked on occupational structure. So this is where they have over 40,000 job titles categorized by skill type. So you look through here and see which field you're interested in, or which one appeals to you the most, so that you can search for jobs in that specific sector. So let's look at community and government services. So I'd click on number 4, and it has things classified into further categories. So there's educational services, here's a couple positions in there, law and social, community and governmental services, paraprofessional occupations in legal, social, community and educational services, And then there's frontline protection services. Okay, so you can go through and figure that out. And then within them, they will have, let's just do this. So a section with more specific titles inside. So look, social community service workers. Let's click on that one. So it gives you a brief explanation about what that person is or what that position is, and then it gives you other titles within that position. So if you say you want to be a social and community service worker, here are different specific titles that you could obtain in the future. So Aboriginal outreach worker, addictions worker, so there's a whole variety of different positions. And they're all very different from each other. You're doing the same basis of work, but you're working with very different people. So when you scroll down further, it gives you the main duties of someone in that position. So kind of a day-to-day tasks, a day in the life of, things that they're doing on a regular basis, and what it's like to be in that type of position. And then you go down to employment requirements. This is the type of education and training that you will need in order to work in that position. Okay, and then here are just some other related occupations. So if you really like some of these things, what else is kind of in the same ball field, you can go ahead and look in here. So educational counselors, for example. Okay, so you can go ahead and look at this one instead. So on NOC, this is where you would come to look to explore different job titles and different opportunities that are not your stereotypical occupations. A lot of times what I like to do is I'll tell people, if we go back and they say, oh, I want to be a lawyer, then I'll tell them, well, look and see what other kinds of jobs are related to it, because maybe you'll like that better. So if we go back to law, let's see. Okay, so judges, lawyers, and notaries, you can see what else is related. So there's community and social services, there's policy program researchers. So you'll say, well, I want to be a lawyer because I want to work with criminals, let's say, people who have gone on the wrong path. So you can look and see, well, there's probation and parole officers. That's kind of interesting. You can go in and look at that and see if that's something that maybe you're interested in just as much. When it comes to finding out how much that person makes and if there are any jobs available in that position, then that's when you go to our next website, and that is Working in Canada. So open up a new tab and put in Working in Canada. Okay, it's the first one that pops up. And this is much more user-friendly. It's very clear where to find different kinds of information. So the job search, this is where you search to see any current openings in that position. Over here with exploring careers, you can look at the different wages, so the money that you'll make in different careers, how it varies between provinces. The outlooks is what the future of that occupation looks like, so if there will be jobs by the time you're done school, if there's jobs available now, and then up here it's occupation. This is the same as this job search. And then education programs, so if you don't know quite which school you want to go to or what program you want to enter in, then you can click on that tab. So let's just start off with the job search. One of the great things about the Canadian websites is that they're all universal. They're all tied together. So if you know for sure that you want to work as a parole officer, but you're not sure which one of these you want, you're okay with any of these, this number right here, this is called the NOC code. And this is universal throughout every single Canadian website that has to do with finding a career. So if we take this code and we enter it into the search on this website, it will pop up all of the different jobs related. So there's 3 available in Canada right now, currently. This doesn't mean that it's going to look the same in the future. Okay, so you have a youth worker, a parole officer, and a community case manager officer. These are all very different jobs, but they're all related, and you might be interested in all of them. So you can click on one, and right away it'll show you the salary, when the start date is, who it is that's employing you, and usually they'll have the full job posting on the website, but since this is posted in a different website, they'll just take you to that website. So we can go back. And if you do end up with a job that there's tons of, like if we search, I don't know, fashion, there's a lot of possibilities. So in the sidebar here, this is where you can narrow it down by city. So if you want to stay in Thornhill, then you'll click there. These have nothing to do with fashion. Why is it doing that? Oh, we've just continued. Okay, let's try this again. Let's do social worker. Okay, social worker in Ontario. Alright, so this gives you a much better example of related jobs in the area that you're looking for. So let's look at medical social worker. So click on that. Okay, so this gives you the same kind of things as Job Bank if you remember. So your education, credentials, what kind of experience they're looking for you to have already, what the work setting is. Okay, so go ahead and look there. If you're interested in seeing similar job postings, you can click over here. Okay, so that's the job search area. If we go up here to explore careers, we can explore by different search categories. So let's search the outlooks. So if we want to see what the future of, let's say, the future of teachers are, we can look. So this is organized by area. So in Alberta, it's telling me that this occupation is termed significant due to the relatively high concentration of people working in this occupation within this geographic area. Okay. In Edmonton, opportunities will be fair over the next few years. Openings will arrive. All right, but if we look in Ontario, I'm sure we'll hear otherwise. Let's see. This is pretty detailed. You'll find that some jobs don't have as much written in here, just because not a lot of people have chose to write about it. Here, outlook for teachers is expected to be limited. The trend of declining student enrollment is expected to persist and will continue to reduce the demand for new full-time teachers. Okay, so this is valuable when it comes to if you would like to enter a job that has high security and that you can get hired right out of school, you can come here and look. So, and then you can go back to the drawing board from here. So if here you say you wanted to be a secondary school teacher and then you look at this and this kind of puts you off, you can go back to the NOC and try and find a related job that maybe has a better outlook. So if we click on education, you can look at other places of employment that you can look into. So if you wanted to be an educational counselor, you're still working with kids, you're still working in a school, but it's as an educational counselor. If you wanted to look and see if there's anything that's put in the same large category, it has a lot of the same qualities. So for example, if you're working in the community, you can be a social worker but for youth. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a school setting. There's tons of options that you should definitely take the time to look through, and then maybe that career has a better outlook and is more appealing and is actually more geared towards your interests than you thought. So that's looking at the outlook. If we go all the way back up, one more thing we can look at is wages. So you can look at what type of money that you can be making if you do enter this position. It'll show you everything on the low end all the way up through to the high end. So you'd probably start around this area and work your way to that. And you can compare it between different areas. Later on, we will be looking at education. Pop back down again. So if you know that you want to take courses around, let's say, fashion, if you're interested in fashion, you can click in fashion. Oh. Communications in Toronto. These are different job titles and and once you click into it, it'll show you different educational paths that you can take. So if you actually wanted to get more on the graphic communications part of it, so maybe creating a magazine layout, you would click on this, view the report. And this was working earlier, so I'm not quite sure. Oh, we have to select a location. There we go. Alright, so it'll show you the program details. This is actually, I'm pretty sure this is a college degree. Graphic Communications, General. Okay, so then it gives you lots of information. That's where you would find that. So let's go back to Job Banks as our third website. We'll just revisit it. I'm going to put Ontario in there just in case. So Job Bank Home. Okay, so you're going to go back into the job search. You could go into student and youth job search if you're looking for jobs for the summer or just while you're still attending school, but eventually you're going to need to know how to use the job search for adults who are out of school or just adults who are able to obtain full-time work. Click on the area. Okay, we've already gone over this, but just to go again. You can look in different areas or you can click all provinces and territories. So let's look in Brantford. And then you choose your area of interest. So you can do farming if you want. Okay, so you can go down, swine herdsperson. Okay, so you can go ahead and look at all of that information there, and you'll note at the top it has the NOC code again. So you can go to the NOC website from here. All right, you can look at different related fields, into the main duties, and so on and so forth. All right, so please take a look at those websites, and I will talk to you later on with further instructions.